Now, apparently there's Lost Ark drama. Let's see what happened. We haven't talked about Lost Ark at all for a while. Lost Ark gave a bunch of fions, and if you guys don't know what fions are, it's like extra currency that you have to spend at the same time that you buy gear off of the auction house. This is done to prevent botting, etc., and the prices are just so astronomically large that fions effectively strangle any items that are not best in slot outside of the marketplace. Nobody wants to sell items or trade items. Fions also need to be... you need to have fions to trade an item from one of your characters to another one of your characters. So, like, if you have two of the same class, and you want to go and play like, oh, well, I want to have two berserkers so I can do more resets. Well, you have to get different jewelry on that other character, because while the items are not necessarily soulbound, well, they are, but they're not. It's complicated. But you need to spend 35 fions in order to do that. So basically, here's what happened, is that Lost Ark gave out a bunch of fions, and now they're removing it. That's right. So most of you have probably read the recent news that mail containing 10 fions and stuff was a mistake. It took them not even half a day to start an emergency maintenance for 2 hours to remove them. Yet players have problems with disconnects since Wednesday last week, which are still not resolved. I personally have been kicked out of the game God knows how many times already. Every time I do a Chaos Dungeon, Guardian, or a Legion raid, I pray that I don't disconnect. It's been 5 days and there still has not been a fix for this at all. Today just showed us the priorities they have. Players getting random disconnects and not being able to play doesn't matter. Players getting free fions, emergency maintenance. Truly lost for words for how disgraceful this is to the players. I don't know what's really disgraceful about this at all. Fions fundamentally are disgraceful. They should have never been in the game. There are many of other free-to-play games that are able to handle having an auction house and sales without doing this. Fions make the game worse in all ways. There is no advantage that fions provide to the average player. I don't know how many fions they're intending to send or to send any at all. This could have been a nice way to treat everyone if they just sent out mail to your gold-earning characters. That way, mostly everybody would equally benefit. AGS is trash. It's not even funny. I was happy about the fions. Decided to cut some stones with them. After maintenance, I see myself on minus 90 fions. Wait, what? So they put people into the negatives? What the fuck? Are you kidding me? That's it. I understand. I get it now. It all makes sense. New World's finally turned a new leaf. They're doing better. And AGS has decided it's time to kill Lost Ark. The game's had a good run. And now it's time for it to die. We've enjoyed it. It's okay. But that Korean pay-to-win trash MMO, we're gonna punish these fuckers. We're going to send them into the negative. We're going to make them pay us for our mistakes. Holy fucking shit, man. It is insane, man. I don't understand it at all in any capacity. It's just so sad. They tweeted this out, apparently. Thank you a lot. Oh my god. Thank you, and then he says, you're very welcome. So this is a person, thank you very much for the comment. Oh my god. This is the pinnacle of jokes. They answered you're welcome officially on a mistake they made, and then they remove it afterwards. The person running that Twitter account had no idea the mistake. Come on now. That's absolutely right. They thought that Amazon did something good for the players. Yeah, now he's fired. Yeah, now he's fired. He's gone now. Oh my god. I can't believe that I can't believe that Fions are still in the game. I'm gonna be honest. I can't believe people put up with this shit. Like, if people made a movement to, like, not play Lost Ark at all until they got rid of them, I would not play. I would straight up not play the game. Because I think that's what players should do. There's no reason they should exist. All they do is make the game worse. You already don't play? Bitch, shut the fuck up. I did Clown 2 days ago. Shut up. I think that it's totally fine if they accidentally gave out the Fions and they didn't mean to do it and they take them back. I think that's totally fucking fine. But don't fucking take people into the negative. And also, I think it's like, it's fine compared to putting people into the negative. Right? This is a comparatively okay. But really, they're both horrible. So don't play Lost Ark while drunk or high. Oh, that was a... Ooh, that's a mess up. Ooh, that's an $800 mistake. Yeah, that one's guys, I know you might not play Lost Ark. That's an $800 mistake right there. No, talking about the Lost Ark bullshit that's going on. You down? Cannon, so do you want to talk about it? Yeah, I mean, I'd be down to talk to him, but like it's like only for like 10 or 15 minutes, because then I really need to go to bed. Yo, what's up, man?
Yo, what's going on?
Just stayed up all fucking night playing New World. I just heard about this Lost Ark shit. What's up with that?
Yeah, that's Oh, I wanted to get your thoughts on. I actually was I popped into your stream and heard you talk about it a little bit. Like, okay, so like my thing with this, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure everyone that's on your stream as well as mine knows what's happening.
Yeah.
They're giving the free peons out, which was like, you know, Christmas for everyone, right?
It's like per character. Like every character got 10 peons. Yeah, and this is in Lost Ark.
Yeah. So I had like 170 peons because I had like 17 characters, right? So the thing is, like, for me, first of all, like, I'm really curious as to how they handle the situation. They just extended the maintenance. So, like, I don't know if they're going to change what they were originally planning on doing, but, like, this is a big issue, right? Like, this is, like, a huge, massive fuck-up on their end. But the thing is, it's like, I don't know whose decision it was to actually do it. They're removing. You give people all this shit, like all these free peons, which to begin with, I'm not the biggest fan of peons to begin with.
And then you're like, I don't know why they're in the game. Well, I don't either.
It could be. Yeah. It could be. Yeah. What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I caught a little snippet of when you were talking about it earlier, but I couldn't hear the whole thing.
It's a disgrace. It's embarrassing because, like, the thing is, there's a lot of people that probably had, like, you know, like 10, 15, 20 of them, or like, let's say they had 50 of them, and that's enough to buy like one relic accessory, and they can go from there, and it's okay. But now they get a bunch more, and they spend all of those, and so now they can spend all of their Fions since they got a ton of them, and now they are just fucked over because they're going to lose them. They're going to be taken away. Like, I don't see, like, how is it something that's hurting the game for players to have extra resources? Like, I've been very critical of the Fion system ever since it came out, and I still don't really agree that it should be in the game. I don't think there's any sort of a positive that the just amount of, like, item trades that per item that you can have, like, you can trade an item like 3 or 4 times based off what it is. I don't see, like, what that doesn't already solve. It just seems like it's an extra, it's just literally a tax.
Right, yeah, so, like, it's funny because, like, my stance with peons, I was working on a video where I kind of go over some stuff, but, like, my honest opinions on the peons is like this. It's like, say what you will, because I get a lot of shit for my peon opinion, because it's like Lost Ark politic talk, you know? But, like, for me, it's like this. It's like, okay, you know what, like, I'm not an economist, and maybe if your argument is like peons are good for market control and all that, whatever. Like even if that is the case, my thing is like, never in the history of any MMORPG has the peon system been implemented or called upon for. So it's like, you don't need it, right? You know what I mean? Like it's
how
just
is
not
it that every other game solves this problem except Lost Ark? Like somehow Lost Ark can't deal with this. And not only can they not deal with it, but they are making sure that we're paying them because they can't deal with it. It's completely unfair. Like, I'm astonished that like that's even a possibility, that people make an excuse for it. I feel like it's so bad for the game.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the peon system, like yeah, you're right. Like I'm not the biggest fan of peons to begin with.
Yeah.
I think, and even further, that like to extend on that point, the fact that like you have to spend peons just to trade items to your alts on your roster is also just
why? Like what's the point of this? Like how is this making the game better? And I think that's really the question that like you think about the real, like, you know, you get down to brass tacks. What is the advantage? Like how is having a Fion cost to trade these items across different characters, how is this making the game better? And I'm sure that, like, you know, somebody might say that, well, you know, that way if you have like a bunch of also the same character, you know, you don't have to do this every single time. And it's like, number one, why are people doing that? I feel like I don't know, and like I'm curious kind of like what your opinion is on this, because like I've seen a lot of people come into my chat and say like I got burned out on Lost Ark because I played eight alts a day and I just did the same thing 8 times every day, and I did 3 hones and I failed all 3 of them. And I can't see like the alt system in Lost Ark being a positive at this point. I feel like it's been very draining for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think the issue with Lost Ark, it's like there's really just 3 things that carry Lost Ark, right? I mean, it's the combat, the classes, and the raids, right? That's really it. I don't think that like I actually, it's funny because I put a poll up. I put a poll up, and I had a lot of Zeals' viewers in my stream that day, and I asked, I put a poll up asking like, do you guys enjoy the day-to-day progress, like what you do on a day-to-day, what you guys do on a day-to-day basis, right? Like with your Guardian raids and Chaos Dungeons, and I think it was like 90% of the voters voted they didn't like it. I don't like it either. Like, but I don't know. I think that's the challenge with MMOs, right? It's like you got to put something in there to grind, but like at the same time, you know, anything that you do is going to be repetitive, right? So
I've got no problem with repetitive content. I just think that we should all be able to do it on one character. Like, I really like Berserker. Berserker is my favorite class. I've watched other classes play, and every single time I watch another class, it makes me think about how happy I am on Berserker. And, like, I think that's a good thing. That's a very good thing, because it means that you're enjoying what you're playing. But at the same time, like, I don't want to have to go and make 7 different Berserkers that are worse than my original Berserker just because there's this artificial cap that's put on my character.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm a very much a one character person as well, and you know my game and the game that I cover content for mainly is like an alt focused game. That's just something, unfortunately, I think it's just by game design. You know, I think it's really clear if you play Lost Ark enough, which you have. It's clearly a game that is designed around the alt system, right? It's like, hey, this is a roster, and this is what our game is, and unfortunately, I don't think that'll ever get changed because of, you know, Smilegate running the show over there. But no, I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of the alts either. But there are some pros to it because I do enjoy playing other classes, right? Because you know, I'm a striker main. I also play a Zerker. I get to try the Reaper that's coming out this week, so it kind of keeps things fresh. But I get what you mean. Have you ever played any other classes in Lost Ark or given it a go?
I played a little bit of them, yeah. I mean, like, I didn't play a lot. I mean, like, honestly, I'm not really an expert. I've just watched my friends play them, and I've watched other people play them, and, like, I just kind of, based off of that, thought to myself, well, you know, I like playing this character way more, and so I'm just going to do this. I mean, that's really where I'm coming from. It's not even that I really dislike the other classes. I just really like playing my class. I think it's super fun. And like I don't want to go and play another class just because I kind of feel like I have to because of this system. I mean, that doesn't seem super cool to me at all. So
yeah, I think they should definitely incentivize people that play one character.
Yeah, like there's like an option. There's an option that like you can just do everything on one character and like get the rewards for like 6 or something like that. Or you know, like if you choose this option, you get 6 times the vitality, or like you know, like resets on one character each day or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and the other issue with it as well is like if you have one character, like you're set to 3 Legion raids on that character, right? Like you're done after that.
Yeah, that's all.
So that's another. Yeah, so it gets boring really fast. I mean, I like. Do you actually grind in Lost Ark and like do your dailies like regularly? I know you do the Legion raids and whatnot.
I got the Golden Turpion. I beat the game. Like that
oh,
was
damn.
That was what I wanted, and I got it. And now I just basically chill. Like I did that. Like I have like pretty much every rapport maxed out. Like I did all the completionism stuff. I did not do everything. Like I don't have all of the island souls. There's some masterpieces I'm missing, etc. But for the most part, I did do a lot of that stuff. And so it's not that I don't like it. I had fun with that too. Like that's like what I do in WoW. That's what I do in other games. And it's the same with Lost Ark. It was great. But like I don't really go through and do like 2 chaos dungeons every single day on my main. Like no, not really. And
you just not like that content. You don't like doing Guardian raids and Chaos dungeons because if you do it on one character, it's not that much, right? You literally do it in less than 30 minutes and be done.
No, it's just like whenever I'm in the mood to do it, I probably would do it if I could do the entire week's worth or the entire like 6 characters worth. I could run like 10 back to back and just be done with them. But like whenever I'm kind of like it's kind of like you have the mood to grind. And if you're not in the mood to grind, it's like really hard to motivate yourself to do it. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, like for me, I like a lot of my views with Lost Ark are because I've heard your opinions on the game, and a lot of my views are very much in line with you, despite being, because I cover Lost Ark, I get a lot of comments and criticism saying like, oh, like he loves the game, and I'm just kind of sitting like, I don't actually love I enjoy playing the game, but there's a lot of systems that I don't like in the game. I'm very much against the Payon system. I'm very much against having to grind alts and the daily grind and all that stuff, I mean, it's a good game. I really love the Legion raids. The Legion raids are fun.
The gameplay is amazing. Everything outside of the gameplay is the problem. And it's like the thing is like Chaos Dungeons, like I don't know about you, but like I love the second level of Chaos Dungeons. Like that is so fun to me. But then doing the first and the third level just is not as enjoyable, because like you get to focus on killing other elites, etc. And it's like if I could, because like my main is like it's like 15, like 30 item level or something like that. Like if I could clear Chaos Dungeons, like some sort of option to just fight all of the mobs at once, I would do that.
Yeah.
And like I don't feel like I'm able to like really do it any faster than I already am.
Right. What about the Guardian raids? You enjoy doing those though?
I do. Honestly, like I just do Descaluda. Like I'm lazy as fuck. I never do Kungwanium, because like the reason why is because people don't know how to fucking do it. They mess it up constantly. Right. So it's like, why do I want to do this shit? It's like it's just gonna annoy the fuck out of me. And so like
That's true. What do you think of the Clown raid though?
Honestly, I think it's really good. One? I think it's a very good raid. And, like, it's frustrating because, like, sometimes I'll mess it up or something will go wrong. But, like, with it being a 4-person raid, it's really not that bad. Like, I'll get really mad about it, for sure. But, like, I'm not really getting mad about the mechanics of the game. I'm just being mad because I'm losing at the game. Right.
I gotcha. To be honest, man, I would love to talk to you about Lost Ark. Like, I could talk to you about Lost Ark all day.
Well, like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, what do you think is going to happen with, like, because now, with this, have you done a con on, like, the Korean servers?
No, I actually stopped Prague in KR quite a while ago.
Okay.
So, like, yeah. I wanted to play exclusively on the NA servers with my community here, and I wanted to actually experience some of the content blind, because I think that's really fun to do, but... I don't know. Like, I think one of the biggest, like, I actually haven't said this publicly, like, on my stream or anything, but I think honestly, one of the biggest issues with Lost Ark for NA EU, I think one of the biggest issues is the fact that Smilegate has full control over everything. I don't know how the logistics work, but like I feel like a lot of these decisions and issues are coming from Smilegate, and you know, because at the end of the day, Amazon's just the publisher, so that, you know, they're gonna get the heat, and I'm sure there's stuff that they've messed up on, right? But like, you know, the only thing I could say is like I met Rich at TwitchCon, did that Lost Ark event down there, and I got to spend a lot of time with the AGS staff and like they have a good staff there. Like they're pretty smart, you know what I mean? Like we had good conversations, and they definitely know what they're doing. And it's like one of the things that I kind of felt like after I spoke to them is that, man, like I feel like they're in a bad like middleman position with a lot of the issues that end up happening, you know. And it's like again, I don't know the decision-making process or anything like that, but I mean, Smilegate is obviously the people that, you know, run the game and make the major decisions at the end of the day, right? So like even this, it's like how much did, you know, like I question myself. I'm like how much did really Amazon drop the ball on this, or is this another Smilegate issue? Regardless, this issue is like whoever made the decision to do what they did, it is single-handedly like probably the worst decision that they've made.
It's impressive
ever.
How bad it is.
It's
like
really
it's
bad.
like, wow, like I never thought like this level of not understanding the player base could even exist. It's incredible to me. Like I don't understand it at all.
A lot of people are talking about like negative peons. I don't think they're gonna actually give negative peons. If you actually read the verbiage, it certainly implies that negative peons could be on the table. But it just says that the peons would be removed. So it's like one of the things you also got from the conversation are cards, right? So if you open the card packs already and consume them, it's like, are they going to remove those cards? Probably not. I could be wrong.
I feel like they're not that big of a deal because you only got one all cards, right? You didn't get like a legendary card pack or something crazy. So it's like, that's not going to have like any real impact on the game. I feel like it wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty much garbage anyway. But I think it's the same principle that applies, though, right? It's like they're not. If you already consume the item and open the card packs, I don't think you're gonna remove that. So like, I mean, this is kind of a shitty situation. But what I think is gonna end up happening is, if you essentially if you got the peons but you didn't use them, they'll be removed.
Yeah.
If you got the peons but you use them, then you win because you're not going to go negative.
Right.
I'm with you 100% with peons just not being necessary. I think you can argue with someone, like if you're pro peon, I think you can make your argument on why it's good for the game, but I don't think anyone could argue with anyone that says it's unnecessary for the game. Like it's just factual information that it is not.
It doesn't add anything to the
game.
game. It doesn't make the game better. It doesn't improve the player experience. This is just something that exists in the game in order to finesse people out of money. I think that's what it is. Because it's like if this is an anti-botting measure, why bots are not going to be getting relic accessories? They're not going to be able to they're not going to sell relic accessories because they're fucking bots. So it just doesn't even make sense, like where people are coming from with this kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that it's just a terrible system and it adds literally nothing to the game. And I hope that I hope players like push back against it, because there have been times where like the game has been changed. Now, has it been changed because of Amazon? Well, like we don't really know that, but what we do know is that, like, for example, Yaz's jar. I think that's one of them, which is like that's the legendary armor, right?
Yeah, the skin, like the legendary skin.
Yeah, the legendary skin, and like that's not in the game.
Yeah.
So like I think that's a good example of like the game being changed a lot, and you know, because of like the different audiences. So it's like, how is it that the game can be changed in this way, but Fions have to be in the game? It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'm glad they're doing this for Yoza's jar, because I'm really curious as to what they're going to do about the Esther weapon, which is literally a weapon that was made in Korea for whales. It was literally like whales would whale out to... Here's a super giga weapon that's going to cost you like
yeah,
20
it's like
grand, whatever it was,
$80,000
50
or
grand,
something
yeah,
like that,
80,
right?
something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, it's insane. And so like, but you know, the fact that they removed the Yoza's jar, I think that's like a very good step in the right direction. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. What I do know is, unfortunately, I'm confident saying that Peons probably will never just be removed from the game. So.
I don't understand why. I feel like just having them in the game just makes people not want to use the auction house more. It just makes the game worse in general. But I think that probably it's because they make them money too. Like that's the reality, is that like people don't like Fions because you have to spend real money to get them in a lot of cases. And it's like,
right.
Yeah, if you only play like one character or whatever, you're probably never going to hit that wall. But if you do play multiple characters, you're probably having a bad time with this.
I think the majority of the player base, I'd probably be a bad representation because I haven't played in KR for a long time, but
yeah.
I think the majority of the player base in KR are actually pro Payon. Like I think they actually like almost the majority of the creators I've talked to at least are like, oh no, it's good, it's needed, it's really good for the game and all this stuff. And I think because the majority of Koreans want it in the game and think it's good for the game,
yeah,
I think that's going to be one of the biggest reasons why Korea never decides to remove it. But you know,
well, they don't
maybe
have to.
in our region,
like yeah, that's
yeah,
what I'm
exactly.
saying. Like, I don't care what the fuck they're doing over there. That's their fucking problem. Like I'm just saying over here, I don't want to deal with that shit. Like it's annoying because it's like it means like any item that you get that's like not super good, like there's no reason for people to sell it at all or even try to like do anything with it because it's just, well, you're not going to make enough money out of it, and so it's just not worth buying. And it's just like even re-rolling ability stones is super expensive.
And like one of the biggest arguments I hear about, oh, if peons were removed, it's like, hey man, well, first of all, blue crystal sinks need to be in the game, and and you know, price at the auction house is going to be messed up, and I'm like, you know, I don't understand the argument of, hey, do you know how much more expensive, you know, ability stones or the accessories are going to be if peons are removed? I'm like, because it's like the whole argument for peons is like, hey, peons are essentially gold. Well, it's like, exactly. It's like, if they're removed from the game, sure, they'll be more expensive, but that's what you're paying for already. It's just, you know, it's like I would rather see a price tag of 1,000 gold than 500 gold, but in reality, there's it's another 500 gold underneath.
Pay-to-win bullshit, right? And it's like there's no need
which
for
you can
this
only
to
buy
exist.
packages, right? Yeah. And I think another thing is like I don't think anyone can correctly predict how the market would behave too, because everyone's like, oh, everything's gonna just shoot up. I'm like, well, there's a lot more to it than that. It's like I feel like that's kind of like trying to predict the stock market.
Things would not
sure,
shoot up. Like basically, so you think about like how much money does it cost to buy like a relic accessory, for example, and it's like, if you're buying a really, really good one, you're probably going to be buying a relic accessory for, I don't know, somewhere around the 100,000 gold. So 100,000 gold is like $50. It's somewhere around there. So if it's $50 and the Fion cost is $5, the change is going to be about 5,000 gold. So it's very easy to decide because you just have to factor that into the price difference. So it's like anybody who thinks this is going to happen just doesn't understand how the numbers work. So people that are like making these like, oh, well, you can't possibly project what this is. Well, of course you can. It's a very known entity with a set price, and that set price is accounted for whenever people determine the price of and the value of an item. So of course that's easy to do. So I don't understand how anybody would be like, oh, well, I mean, how could you possibly have any idea what things are going to be? Oh, the market's going to crash. There's no fucking way. Why would the market crash just because you can do that? And I remember, like, this same thing happened, like, with New World. There was, like, the travel costs were, like, super high, and you couldn't put your storage in different places in the game. And it came out, and I remember I was critical of it. A number of other people were critical of it. People quit the game because of it. And then you still had people that were coming up with these like weird contrived reasons how it's actually a good thing. And then after this happened for long enough, people quit the game, and it made the game worse. Then New World changed it, and it was widely regarded as a huge success. None of the weird, you know, like predictions that people made actually came true. It just made the game better, and everybody is happier because of it. So like, I don't know why they have this system in the game. Like as I said, because like this is what happened with WoW. Is that like whenever Shadowlands came out, like did you play Shadowlands or like WoW at all?
I played very briefly, but a little bit, yeah.
Well,
just a little
bit. They had
yeah.
like this system where like you could only play like one. It was like a covenant at a time, and whenever players were not happy about it, like Amazon went through like, or not Amazon, Blizzard went through like this big long thing about how if they remove this from the game, is it even really an MMO anymore? It's like, oh, we can't really make it an ARPG anymore, or RPG anymore, and players were like, yeah, we don't like this in the game at all, and they stuck with it. And after everybody started leaving the game to play Final Fantasy, guess what happened? Somehow the thing that they said was impossible to do magically became possible instantaneously, and they completely went back on everything they said. So yeah, I think the moment that people actually stop playing the game because of something, things happen overnight.
Like, what do you think needs to happen outside of obviously removal of peons for you? Yeah. What do you think Lost Ark needs to do for it to be a top tier MMORPG right now?
Like a top tier, like
top tier. Like hey, like if some random person came up to you like, hey man, Aslan, what are the three? Name me the three best MMORPGs in the world right now. And Lost Ark would be right there.
I feel like Lost Ark probably is number 3 right now. I mean, you've got WoW as number 1, Final Fantasy number 2, Lost Ark number 3. Like, that's probably what I would say. I think some of the reasons why it's not higher is because, number 1, the honing is just soul-crushing. Like, farming for 2 hours to do 3 clicks at 1%, lose them all, and then have to wait a week to do it again. It doesn't really seem like a good time. And like one small thing that I actually don't think is very small is the voice acting in the game is fucking garbage. It is
really the voice acting.
I think the voice acting, because like you have to be able to get into the characters. Like for example, the New World voice acting for a lot of the new content is actually really well done. And I think that people see that and they respect it. And it makes them feel like they're more involved with the game. And like with some of the cinematics especially, like the way the characters talk and act, it just doesn't really, it kind of takes the immersion out of the game, I think, in a big way.
Right. I think outside of the actual game systems, I think the biggest gripe that I have for Lost Ark is actually the translation. Like there's some shit that's in the game, like especially even in the housing area, where I'm like, I'm reading this thing in English and I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's, I mean, like, that's basically another version of kind of what I'm saying. Is that like, you can't see what the fuck they're saying. You can't see what they're talking about. It's just very, very badly designed, I think. And, or it's like badly translated. And I do think that it takes away some immersion from the game whenever you're playing something and you just see, you know, like the voice acting is awful, because it just, again, I think it takes you out of the game.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'd like to see. And then also like just adding in more raids and like more content, like larger scale content. I know they had that dragon raid, and then like that was like one of the first things I saw about Lost Ark, and I was like, wow, this game looks awesome. I've never done it.
Bro, how can they do this in an ARPG? This is what the fucking Deathwing fight should have been. This should have been Deathwing. Bro, are you kidding me? It makes me so mad.
I think his name's Kaishler.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and it's like the big one where you get in the cannons, and it's like, you know, as a WoW player, it's like, oh man, this is what I wanted. This is what I thought we were going to get with the Deathwing fight. But it just never even happened, and it's like having more content like that's super important too.
So, okay, so removing peons, making it less alt-centric. Yeah. These are the two big ones for you outside of the voice acting and the localization, yeah?
I think making it less mandatory to have alts, because it's like, I don't have to have alts, but I do have to have money. It's you either have alts or money.
Yeah.
That's one or the other. And it's like that, I think that for a Western audience, just not really a good sell.
What do you think is a good, like, what do you think is good progression content, though? Like, I mean, if Chaos Dungeons and Guardian Raids, it's like, because that's it, right? Like outside
I think that they could be good. It's just that the Chaos Dungeons are so brain dead easy, and they're so repetitive, and they happen the exact same way every single time. Like, how many times do you get a red portal? Like, one every probably 30?
Right,
It's too infrequently. And, like, for example, like, having other ways that experienced players can be able to do things more quickly. So, like, for example, if I was able to fight, let's say, 3 red portals instead of fighting the entire Chaos Dungeon, I would love doing that, because that means I can use my gear, I can actually pop off on something, blow something the fuck up, do a lot of damage, and that would feel way better for me than just sitting around, you know, AoEing down mindless amounts of mobs. Or like having some sort of like harder version of Chaos Dungeons. Because I like the gameplay of Chaos Dungeons, and I liked it the first 200 times. But they are the exact same every time. And there's no reason for that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that, like, I mean, what do you think about the... How many bots do you think are in the game?
At least 11 billion. It's like the amount of bots that are in the game it's insane. I mean, it actually kind of depends on what region too. Like, thank God NA East is like significantly better than NA West.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like anytime a streamer is playing NA West or anyone in my chat that says they're playing NA West, I just meme on them. So you're playing a single player.
Way worse there? I don't know. I've never.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anyone that tells me they're playing on NA West, I tell them, oh, so you're playing the single player version of Lost Ark.
Jesus,
the co-op
so
version.
bad.
I mean, it's even reflected in the prices too, right? I mean, the marketplace price isn't going to be like 100% representation, but even the marketplace, the Blue Crystal in our region is what, 2,500 ish, right? In the West, it's like 4K. It's insane.
Jesus Christ.
What are your thoughts on that though? Like, just free to play games, because free to play games is always going to have just a ton of bots, right? It's like, what are your thoughts on like a free to, because Lost Ark is a free to play game, right? It's probably the biggest free to play game, right? I think I'm trying to think if there's any other free to play.
I don't know
game.
if it's the biggest, but it's obviously a very big, very popular game. A lot of people play Lost Ark, so it's like, I think that's of course you're going to have bots in free to play games, but it seems like they don't, like, I don't understand how you're not able to hire a dozen people to just monitor different servers and different layers or channels and just see, oh wow, there's a lot of these characters that his name is MXCYVVX. Like, okay, and look, he's another fucking berserker, and he's done 78 Chaos Dungeons today. Well, let's go ahead and investigate what this player's doing. Like, and then there's 8 other characters that are moving at the exact same pace that he is, doing the exact same thing. You're not going to be able to convince me that this is not an unsolvable problem. Like, I can't see it being that hard to deal with.
You know, it'd be great if you asked them directly. Have you ever talked to anyone like at Amazon Game Studios?
Yeah, I have, but I mean, like, it's hard to say, because I think that, like, it's one of the things where, like, the decisions are being made by so many different people. It's like,
right,
because it's such a big place, like, the bad decision is dispersed between so many people that it's really nobody's fault. And I don't know how exactly they can solve that.
You know, I think that'd be great to actually get that, to be able to talk to them about it. It would be fun watching, like, I think it would be fun being able to sit down and have you speak to them. Or even Korea. Like, you know, it'd be awesome if we were able to get you to talk to like the director in Korea. I think that would be a lot of fun.
So
I would love to see that.
I would fucking love that too.
Yeah.
I would love to, because like the thing is, Lost Ark I think has so much potential with the kind of game it is. It's so like the Legion raids, like Vaulton is probably one of the best raids I've ever done in my entire life.
A lot of fun
in any game.
Have you done Hell Vaulton?
Not yet. I'm afraid to.
Bro, we need to do it. Like, if you want to do Hell Vaulton, I will call the boys who are widely known as like the best in NA, and they're really good. Yeah. If you want that, if you're trying to get that deathless title or at least a clear title, I say we go for it, man. I think it'd be great content. It is significantly harder.
Do it first, like I bet it is. But the thing is, like the fight is good. It's a good, interesting fight, and that's why I like it. It's fun.
Right.
And yeah, I would probably like to do the Hell Vaulting. I think maybe.
Yeah, let me know.
Dragonflight. Oh, I will. I definitely will.
There's one stipulation though.
Okay, what do they want?
You might not. You might have to drop Whirlwind from your Zerker build. That's it.
I thought I only had to shout him out on Twitch. Oh fuck. Okay. That would be fucking.
Are you pretty pumped
brutal.
for Dragonflight?
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting. Like every time there's a new WoW expansion, there's probably equal anxiety and also excitement. That's about where we're at now.
Okay, like on that note, actually, this made me think of because like WoW, they have like these expansions, and the expansions essentially just hey, it's a brand new hard reset, right? Do you think Lost Ark would benefit for a system like that, or do you think people would lose it? You know, like, and then Tier 4 comes out,
right?
Like, and then it gets reset, like, cause you know, like Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, they're like resets, right? Do you think Lost Ark is a game that would benefit from like a hard reset like that, like in the form of tiers rather than expansions, or what do you think about that?
To be honest, one of the things that I liked a lot about Lost Ark is the fact that you had to go from Tier 1 to Tier 2 to Tier 3. It's something that I really missed in WoW. And like, this is the way that the game used to be, is that you had to, you had to clear Molten Core in order to clear Blackwing Layer and everything else. So, like, the way that Lost Ark works and the way that you just get better gear, and then you get better gear after that, and better gear after that, it feels like you're really building up, you're building your character to become more and more and more powerful. Like, I think that at a certain point, like, it seems like Lost Ark has, like, an obvious end. You have, like, all of the Legion commanders, then you have Kazaros and Carmine, and then, like, I'm not sure, I obviously haven't played the Elgacia patch, so I'm sure they probably added a couple other bosses. There was some sort of angel people fight, but for the most part, those are the main antagonists in the game. So it's like, after those guys are done, what do you do? I don't know. Like, at that point, I would be totally fine if they reset the game or did something like that. Maybe that would actually be better for the game.
Like, the pay-to-win system in Lost Ark is really interesting, right? Because it's a very rewarding system for people that are like trying to reach endgame and get caught up. It's like, it's insane. But it's like, it's actually really punishing to whales in the sense that, like, for example, where you're at, you spend $1,000 right now, it's going to get you nothing.
I spent $400.
You know what I mean?
I capped out my, my purchases for the day to see how far it would get me, and I got 5 item levels.
Exactly.
And keep in mind, like, I'm not even going from 24 to 25. Like, it would be even worse if I was.
There's a Korean streamer named Nodally who's like a big whale for Lost Ark in KR, and he actually drew this diagram of what it's like for like the whole pay-to-win system.
흔히 이제 선발대라고 하죠. 처음에 컨텐츠가 딱 나왔어요. 엔드 컨텐츠 바로 달리겠죠. 쫙 올라간 다음에 여기서 막혀요. 이제 올라갈 데가 없어. 그럼 이제 흘러가겠죠? 막 이렇게 흘러가요. 뭐 미세하게 뭐 이제 막 팔찌 건들고 뭐 에스더 무기 간다고 뭐 하면서 뭐 이렇게 뭐 조금씩 이렇게 하겠지만 더 이상 갈 데가 없어요, 이 사람들은. 근데 흔히 이제 무과금 유저 아니면 좀 약간 적당히 지르면서 오시는 분들, 유저들.
그렇지.
이 사람들이 서서히 쫓아옵니다. 이게 결국에는 어느 순간에는 이 선발대도 눈앞에 보이기 시작해요, 이 사람들이. 원래는 이 사람들이 막 하늘을 봐도 구름에 가려져서 안 보이는데 어느 순간 자기네들이 그 대기권을 뚫고 나와 있어요. 이 게임이 약간 그런 느낌이었어요.
I feel like that's like 100% true in Lost Ark.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you get to a point where it's like you're obviously hitting a bit of a wall. Like, you can keep going if you want to, but this is only for people with more money than sense. But it's like, I think that some people, I mean, if this ever exists in a game, there are always going to be people that don't like it. But with Lost Ark, I think it's generally like it's not as bad as it could be. Like, did you ever play Tower of Fantasy?
I have.
Okay, so how far did you get in Tower of Fantasy?
Not much. I just did it for content. I went in there and like just did a bunch of polls. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, the only content in the game. Yeah, basically. Yeah. No,
pretty much.
I went through. I actually played pretty much everything in Tower of Fantasy. It's an MMO. I was going to give it a full review, and by God, I'm going to give it a full fucking review. And so I did that, and oh my God, it's like your character is just so much more powerful than people who don't pay to win. It's like it's not even remotely close. It's not even like, oh, they have a chance. They don't even have it's just not going to happen. Like, you're at
Right.
50,000, they're at 5. Yeah, if you compare Lost Ark to that, it's a lot better. It certainly is.
Right. Is there any class in Lost Ark that outside of Warrior that you feel like is like, hey, you know what? I kind of really like this class. Any other class?
Let me think. I don't think so.
If
Oh,
you
yeah.
ever do an
Oh, yeah.
alt, I would highly recommend trying Striker, man.
Striker? What?
Yeah.
Maybe I
It's
will.
so fun. It's it's a very simple class to play. You know your awakening skill, like it feels great when you land the
Yeah.
awakening skill, right? They're like Striker's Spender, which is on like a I can't remember the exact. This is like 12 to 15 second cooldown.
Yeah.
It hits harder than the awakening skill. It's a massive.
fuck?
Yeah, it's so like you'll sit there and you'll see one massive number. And it's not like just multiple hits. Like, you know how finishing strike, it's like 1, 2, and then you see two
Yeah.
big numbers pop up, right? It's like with Striker, you see one big dick fucking number. Like it's great. Like
That
the
does
viewers
sound
love it.
badass.
Dude, it's amazing. I'm telling you, try Striker. It's not overly complicated.
And yeah, I mean, maybe I'd play like a scouter. Like, if I played something, I would probably play a ranged character because like it's a
Right,
different play style in general. I think.
Right. I'm telling you, man. Try Striker. You won't regret
Okay.
it.
All
It's
right. I'll
it's
think about
really
it.
fun.
Yeah, I'll
That's
definitely
really
think about it, man.
I appreciate it, man. You
All
have a
right,
good
dude.
night.
Yeah, you too. See you later.
All right. See
Peace.
ya.
That was a nice guy. I like Cannon. Yeah, it's actually, it was crazy. It's the first time I ever got a chance to talk to him. For Drag Theater tomorrow mainstream? To do Drag Theater on the stream tomorrow? No, I'm not going to go back mainstream just for the Drag Theater. It's not really a big deal to me.
그래서 보상 공지 떴어요. 요니캠 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 확인해보죠. 얘네들이 어떤 삽질을 했나 봅시다. 뭐 오역 아니죠? 30회원? 오케이. 그 다음 30의 회원은 부여할 것입니다. 이거 내가 생각하는 그거 아니겠죠, 이거? 이거 내가 생각하는 그거 아니겠죠, 이거? 제발 현실이 아니라고 말해줘. 부탁.